For a long time, Disney was on top of the villain game. This is the studio that gave us hardcore bad guys like Scar and Maleficent, along with disturbingly real ones like Judge Frollo. But somewhere along the way, modern Disney started losing that edge. On the other hand, Dreamworks has been charging ahead by successfully experimenting with creative villain profiles. So today, let's break down what Dreamworks understands about evil that Disney doesn't. And thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring this video.
What I ever did, I did to make you proud! Tell me how proud you are, Shifu!
When it comes to tragic villains, one has to strike a delicate balance. The audience needs to understand their pain, but the movie still has to make it clear that their actions are wrong. And this is where Dreamworks really knows what it's doing. Take Tai Lung from Kung Fu Panda. As a baby, he was abandoned at the Jade Palace, so his story already starts on a sad note. This is the same place that Master Shifu was once abandoned too, so naturally he wants to give Tai Lung the same love and guidance Oogway once gave him. The only difference is that Shifu unintentionally raises him with the weight of expectations. He sees Tai Lung's natural talent for Kung Fu and starts building his entire identity around greatness. And to be fair, can you even blame the guy for thinking he was meant to be the Dragon Warrior? Shifu literally named him Great Dragon. So Tai Lung works his whole life towards that goal, but things don't go the way he planned.
You always knew. But when Oogway said otherwise, what did you do?
That silence is what breaks Tai Lung. Of course, laying waste to the Valley of Peace isn't exactly a healthy coping mechanism, so he's not absolved of that. But the tragedy is that Tai Lung's downfall didn't come out of nowhere.
Who filled my head with dreams? Who drove me to train until my bones cracked?
Shifu was the one who unintentionally made him believe his worth depended on becoming the Dragon Warrior. So when he loses the title, Tai Lung feels lost and untethered, left without any purpose in life. And he's not the only Kung Fu Panda villain who's lost.
Happiness must be taken, and I will take mine.
While Tai Lung's tragedy comes from being misled by someone who loved him, Shen's tragedy is more self-inflicted. After hearing a prophecy that a warrior in black and white would defeat him, Shen panics and orders the massacre of the pandas. This, of course, sets the prophecy in motion. So when Shen's parents find out what he's done, they banish him. And instead of reflecting on why they were horrified, Shen convinces himself that they never loved him. That belief becomes the hole he spends the rest of his life trying to fill with weapons and plans to conquer China, which is also one of the 10 nations you can access in this video's sponsor. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made. You command tanks, aircraft, helicopters, and ships from 10 major nations across different battle modes, from fast arcade matches to more realistic battles and full simulator-style combat. The game has over 2,500 vehicles, with detailed models supported by realistic visuals and sound design that make every shot and explosion feel like you're right there in the battlefield. And since I'm a sadist like Shen, I love how the X-ray view feature lets me see exactly what kind of damage I've inflicted on enemy vehicles. It's available for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile devices with over 95 million players worldwide. Plus, for a limited time, new players along with returning players who haven't played in at least 6 months can claim a bonus pack on PC and console. That includes multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive Eagle of Valor vehicle decorator, 7 days of premium account, and 100,000 Silver Lions. So download War Thunder while you still can from the links in the description or the pinned comment below. That being said, let's get back to Shen, who decided to play out War Thunder in real life to escape his past. Then we see how broken he really is when he confronts Po.
How did you find peace? I took away your parents. Everything.
Shen spends his life in turmoil trying to avoid being defeated by a warrior in black and white, only to become the reason that warrior exists in the first place. It's only when the cannon is about to fall onto Shen that he finally looks at peace, right before he dies. In the end, Dreamworks made us feel something for a genocidal peacock, so you'd think Disney would have no trouble pulling off a successful tragic villain. Sadly, that isn't the case.
My entire family, our lands were destroyed by selfish, greedy thieves.
Right off the bat, King Magnifico from Wish has the foundation to be a compelling and tragic villain. After losing his family and home, he understood how selfishness can destroy you. So he built the Kingdom of Roses as a haven for anyone in exchange for a wish. Now, Disney had a great opportunity to start Magnifico's story as a benevolent ruler who genuinely wanted to protect people from the kind of loss he experienced. Over time, that fear could have turned into control, making him want to take everyone's wishes for himself. Unfortunately, the studio doesn't do any of that. The filmmakers do mention his past, but it never really shapes the story in a meaningful way. Instead of making Magnifico gradually descend into paranoia, Disney takes the easier route.
A staff of such power, even the night will bow to my command.
Once the evil book enters the picture, Magnifico's downfall feels rushed, like the writers just needed to make him more evil somehow. He goes from charming ruler with suspicious control issues to deranged, narcissistic dictator way too fast. Now, it's not that the evil book concept couldn't work. It would have felt more impactful if Magnifico had turned to the forbidden magic out of desperation after Asha united the people against him instead. That way, we would see a man so terrified of losing control that he destroys himself trying to keep everyone safe. Disney therefore had the potential to make King Magnifico a tragic protector whose fear turns him into a tyrant. Instead, the studio gave us a poorly written, one-dimensional character, and he's not the only Disney villain who's fallen prey to poor writing.
Thank you, Debla. You've been very helpful.
Some villains aren't meant to be straightforward. They're supposed to be complicated people whose villainy comes from the belief that they're doing the right thing. And when it comes to such complex villains, writing can make or break that character. And that's where Disney failed Namaari from Raya and the Last Dragon. The writers clearly want her to be a conflicted antagonist and a parallel to Raya since they're both daughters of powerful leaders. Unfortunately, Disney never develops her character enough to make a real impact.
In a different world, maybe we could have been friends, but I have to do what's right for Faye.
From the beginning, Namaari is the one who betrays Raya's friendship. She gains Raya's trust and uses it to steal the dragon gem for her tribe, Fang. This sets off the chain reaction that breaks the gem and releases the Droon that turns Raya's father to stone. So naturally, Raya never trusts her again. The movie later reveals that Namaari's actions come from wanting to protect Fang since its people are struggling due to limited resources. This could have been a good motivation for Namaari's actions, but we don't see any of her inner conflict for most of the film. And worst of all, she's never shown any accountability for her actions. Even after she shoots Sisu, Namaari still has the gall to blame someone else.
Do whatever you want. But you're as much to blame for Sisu's death as I am.
Girl, you were the one who brought the crossbow in the first place. The entire film is about trust, so Disney tried to give us an ending where Raya trusts Namaari, which seems insane to me, because Namaari never did anything to earn it. In fact, she never even apologizes for any of the horrible things she's done. Yet Raya still hands her the gem piece after spending the entire film not trusting her. So this ending just feels rushed and forced. It's basically the filmmakers projecting a toxic message that you should just forgive people even if they don't deserve it. On the flip side, Dreamworks gave us a layered villain with Ramesses from The Prince of Egypt.
How'd you like your face carved on a wall? Someday, yes. How about now?
Before Ramesses becomes the oppressive pharaoh, the film explores him as Moses' brother. We see them laugh and cause trouble together, which already humanizes Ramesses. The two brothers clearly love each other, which only makes the tragedy of what comes later so much stronger.
My people. And I can no longer hide in the desert while they suffer. At your hands.
Ramesses is devastated when he realizes he wasn't the reason Moses came back. But what saddens him even more is what his brother asks of him, knowing it goes against everything he was taught to believe.
But one weak link can break the chain of a mighty dynasty.
That line becomes the cage Ramesses spends the rest of the film trapped inside. He was raised to believe that being soft and merciful is weakness. So the idea of freeing the Hebrews is unacceptable to him, as he thinks it will make him the weak link his father always thought him to be.
I will not be the weak link.
And that's why, even though he still loves Moses, he chooses his pride and legacy over brotherhood, which eventually becomes his downfall. That is the difference between Ramesses and Nahmari. Dreamworks therefore proved it knows how to do villains with detailed and emotional backstories. But the studio also knows how to give us villains who are just evil for the fun of it.
It's so cute how you think that would work on me. Don't you know I'm dead inside?
Jack Horner from Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is a prime example of a villain who woke up and chose violence for no real reason. The man grew up with, and I quote, loving parents, stability, and a mansion. So no, we can't blame this one on childhood trauma. In a movie where everyone else wants the wishing star for emotional reasons, Jack wants to use it to harness all the magic in the world. He doesn't care about anyone but himself, including the people who work for him. This guy decides to be so unapologetically himself that even the literal ethical bug gives up on him.
You're an irredeemable monster!
What took you so long, idiot?
Yup, that tracks. I mean, this guy would shoot a puppy in the face without blinking, so it's safe to say he's pure evil.
What did I do to deserve this? I mean, what specifically?
Honestly, 10 out of 10 for self-awareness. When it comes to villains like Jack Horner, Dreamworks realized that sometimes it's enough to just make an evil character wildly entertaining. That's why every scene with Jack leaves you wanting more. Unfortunately, the same can't really be said for Disney's Prince Hans from Frozen.
Oh, Anna. If only there was someone out there who loved you.
Now, to be fair, the twist was surprising, mostly because it doesn't make any sense, but after the shock wears off, Hans feels more underwhelming than interesting to me. He's supposed to be this manipulative prince who wants to rule Arendelle by marrying either Elsa or Anna. The writers, however, don't build him up strongly enough before the reveal. For most of the film, Hans acts like a genuinely decent guy who helps Anna and protects the kingdom while the sisters are away. Not only does he stop Elsa from killing the guards, but he even tries to stop one from shooting her, which makes his plan feel weirdly inconsistent. I mean, if his entire goal is to take the throne, wouldn't getting Elsa killed make things a whole lot easier? Of course, one could say he did all that to play the hero, and while that may be, his character doing a complete 180-degree turn after the reveal just feels unnatural. But what I hate most is how he makes the classic villain mistake.
You won't get away with this.
Oh, I already have.
Sir, both sisters are still alive! Hans gets cocky way too early, and it eventually bites him in the butt. So while he isn't Disney's worst villain, Hans is still not particularly memorable. And the frustrating part is that Disney used to be excellent at villains who genuinely enjoyed being villains. Take Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty, for instance.
She shall prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel and die.
As the mistress of evil, Maleficent had an unreal screen presence. She literally cursed a baby because she wasn't invited to the christening. That's a level of pettiness I aspire to have. Old Disney understood that some villains are memorable because they're dramatic and just fully committed to being bad. But modern Disney has a problem with letting good things be, which is why it keeps making live-action versions of existing films that absolutely did not need a remake. For instance, instead of preserving what made Maleficent work, Disney gave her a tragic backstory and turned her into a misunderstood anti-hero. That just takes away from the essence of the original film. So modern Disney seems adamant to ruin what worked for it in the past in today's age.
Thanks for ruining it.
But Dreamworks is still interested in experimenting with new types of villain. You can see that perfectly with Pitch Black and Rise of the Guardians. Pitch is the literal embodiment of fear, constantly working against the Guardians and everything they represent. Naturally, he resents them because children all over the world believe in them while he remains forgotten and powerless. No one understands what that feels like except for Jack Frost. Both Jack and Pitch have spent centuries wandering the world invisible with no one to believe in them. For Jack, that loneliness is even worse because he doesn't even remember who he is. So when Pitch looks at Jack, he sees opportunity.
At what we can do. What goes together better than cold and dark?
No, he's got a point.
Cold and dark do sound like a terrifying combination, like the epitome of seasonal depression. Pitch tries to exploit Jack's feeling of not belonging anywhere, offering to team up, but he doesn't realize that the two of them are different.
They'll believe in both of us. No, they'll fear both of us. And that's not what I want.
Unlike Pitch, Jack doesn't want to rule through fear. Even before the Guardians accept him, Jack spends his time making children laugh and giving them snow days. They can't see him, but he still chooses to make their lives brighter. In another life, Jack could have become just like him if he had let his resentment about being unseen turn into bitterness. That's how mirror villains should work. They should show what the hero could become if they made the wrong choice. Unfortunately, Disney fumbles this trope with Robert Callahan in Big Hero 6.
You took everything from me when you sent Abigail into that machine.
Callahan is revealed as the twist villain, driven by revenge against Cray after his daughter Abigail disappears. In that sense, the writers try to make him a dark reflection of Hero. They're both geniuses who have experienced the grief of losing those they love. The difference is that Hero retreats inward after Tadashi's death, while Callahan becomes consumed by bitterness.
I went in there to save you. That was his mistake.
This scene is supposed to show how far gone Callahan is, but instead of making him feel broken, it makes him feel weirdly flat. I mean, Tadashi was his student who died trying to save him. So when Callahan reacts so callously, it feels like the writers just needed him to sound more evil. It could have worked better if Tadashi's death had actually shaken him and he had felt a brief moment of guilt. Then he could double down anyway because he's too far into his revenge to stop. That would make him feel human and monstrous at the same time. So the biggest issue with Callahan is his weak setup. He doesn't get enough screen time before his supposed death to become memorable, and the film doesn't foreshadow his twist at all. Once again, Disney prioritizes surprise over setup. But while Disney does have incredible villains, especially from its older films, none of them compare to the unstoppable force Dreamworks gave us next. Man, that will never not be haunting. I never thought a movie about a sword-fighting cat would make me think about my mortality, but then DreamWorks created death in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
I just love the smell of fear.
For the first time, Puss actually looks scared. The feline hero assumes the villain is just another bounty hunter, but it's only later in the film that Puss realizes death is the physical embodiment of the only thing he truly fears in life. And with 8 out of his 9 lives already gone, all Puss can do is try to run. Death, however, isn't just chasing Puss because his time is up.
I find the very idea of 9 lives absurd.
That right there is why Death, who's supposed to be a neutral party, comes for our feline hero early. The fact that Puss not only gets more lives than the average being, but also wastes them, really irks Death. And honestly, that's fair, because Puss hasn't exactly been careful with any of his lives.
What's the matter? Lives flashing before your eyes?
When Puss finds out who Death is, he realizes this isn't a battle he can win with his sword skills. Eventually, through Perito and Kitty Softpaws, Puss begins to understand that one life is enough if you live it with people who matter. This realization is the only reason Death decides to let Puss live. Once the feline hero began to appreciate his last life, Death had no reason to go after him anymore. DreamWorks truly made a one-of-a-kind villain that no studio can compare to, even Disney. I mean, yes, they've got iconic villains like Maleficent, Scar, and Chernabog, But Maleficent gets impaled by a sword, Scar gets eaten alive, and even Chernabog retreats when the sun comes up. Dreamworks therefore gave us a villain who every other villain must meet when their time is up, proving yet again that it understands how to make unique villains better than Disney does. Before you go, a quick reminder that War Thunder's limited time bonus pack is available for new players and returning players who haven't played for at least 6 months. Download War Thunder today from the links in the description or the pinned comment below. Sign up, play, and grab your bonus before it disappears faster than Puss's first 8 lives.